and welcome to this month's live broadcast for Superheroes of Arabia. I am really honored to have been joined by Son of Sparda, who was on a hiatus for last few months, and I'm really glad he's just adjusting his camera. Take your time.
I'm glad you're glad that I'm adjusting my camera. There we go. I hope that's all right. All
That's
right.
perfect.
I can't see myself, but hopefully
No, no,
you guys can.
in fact, you're appearing really clear, so you don't need to worry about that.
Oh, perfect.
The other bit is that let me just inform the community.
Hmm.
We are now live. So, okay, I think I need to join us on. Please bear with me for a minute. Just let me.
Take your
Uh,
time.
yeah. Well, I'm really glad, man, you joined us. You've been quite busy with your stuff.
I'm sure everyone is. We're in the holy month, and everyone's busy getting their stuff together. They're packing up their fridge and doing all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Okay, and so now the community will be able to see both of us.
Cool.
So let's just head right in. Okay, so we've got this screen. Son of Sparda, if you can just move your camera, tilt it a bit upwards.
Go for it.
Lovely action figure of Daredevil.
There we go. Does that work?
Yeah, perfect. A bit more, just a bit more.
Hang on. Can I put him on something? I
No, just
mean,
tilt the camera. Camera. The
oh,
action figure looks
upwards or
great.
downwards?
Upward, bro. Upward.
All right, there we go. How's that?
Thank you to each and every one of you joining in. I have to open up the chat.
Hang on. You
Uh,
know what? I think this is better, right?
oh man, just turn around. Just turn around the Daredevil action figure.
I'm gonna
Amazing.
find a place for you, buddy. Hang on. Over here with his buddy Frank Castle.
We can't see Frank.
Oh, we're gonna sort it out. Hang on. Give me. All right, Charlie, you go over here, Matt, and then Frank. Can you get closer? Oh, I lost my picture. Oh, okay, there we go. All right. Let me see if we can put the boys together. There we go. Oh,
It's okay. I'm
let
just
me.
testing.
Okay.
Okay.
Frank,
So
Frank's in the background.
this is a wonderful backdrop that we have right now. Thank you, Son of Sparta, for always being kind enough to share your collection with the
Sure.
community. For those of you who are joining us for the very first time, Son of Sparta happens to be one of the finest collectors that we have. He is, a diehard collector when it comes to the memorabilia and the high-end action figures for our favorite characters from the world of DC, Marvel, Transformers, Thundercats, and even the gaming universe. So today's live broadcast is quite special. Why? Because a lot of the things are happening at a really fast pace, and it's hard for us to, you know, keep ourselves up to date because already we just finished your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man animated series, and followed by Captain America: Brave New World. So right now. there's a lot of controversy going on that Captain America: Brave New World has proven to be a flop. It's not even gonna be. It's not even gonna break even. But the surprising bit is that there is a lot of conflicting information coming around. Like, for example, that it has been number one at the box office for 3 weeks. And Son of Sparda, would you like to share a few bits on this debacle or perceived debacle when it comes to Captain America: Brave New World?
Sure. And as a side note, I'm just going to tell you, I prepared so much research for our topics and notes. And then at the very
Amazing.
last second, I remembered, oh, shoot, I usually use my phone to for us to do these things. So all my notes are on my phone. I'm trying to get them on my computer. It's taking a little while. So I'm going to wing it until my notes come up. But let's give our very quick thoughts on the movie before we get into the logistics, because I did do some research on how it's faring at the box office. So I did notice a few inconsistencies with a very popular villain, with the leader, who the last time we saw him was 15 years ago in the Incredible Hulk movie.
Yes.
So there were times when he was using mind control with lights to control people. There were times when he was using bits of audio and sound. And so it wasn't clear. Did he just master all types of mind control? I just wasn't sure what was going on there. So
Right.
as a character, the leader always tries to prove that he's better than everyone else, especially people who are gamma powered, and he
True.
wants to take over the world.
True.
And I feel like we didn't get that. His only sole motive was that he had a grudge against Thunderbolt Ross. That was it, for trapping him in prison for years and years. So I feel like we could have got so much more out of this, in terms of maybe he got him to develop weapons or something. Um, but we did get two really amazing scenes. The scene over the Indian Ocean, that was fantastic, with both
Amazing.
Captain America and the New Falcon. And then the very end, the battle scene at the end with Red Hulk, that they've been advertising forever and ever. That was fantastic. I feel like, if anything, it was worth the wait. Even though it was just that final battle, that they've been advertising it forever. We're gonna get Red Hulk. We're gonna get him. That was it. We only got Red Hulk in that final scene, which was fine. I wish we got a little more, but I feel like beggars can be choosers. So and
We're
then
the
we
ones
got
paying for the ticket, man. We're the ones paying for the ticket. So
absolutely, absolutely. What else?
no,
Just off the top.
I need to hold you on that one.
Mhm.
Because we need to address the elephant in the room. I'm glad
Yeah,
that you went through these points about the leader. I
yeah,
won't blame that on the director or the team, because I mean, this movie, the entire duration of the movie was 1 hour 58 minutes,
yeah,
whereas the Winter Soldier, which was the shortest movie ever produced before it,
yeah,
had, I think, 2 hours and 20 minutes,
yeah,
or about slightly above 2 hours.
yeah,
So that's not the bit. The first thing is that, like, both you and me, we had organized a watch party. Okay, we
yeah.
went there, we watched the movie together. Did we enjoy it or did we not enjoy it? That's number one.
I if it comes between did we or didn't we, we did. We had a good time.
The second thing,
Yeah,
now, I had a brief conversation with someone over here in
yeah,
Saudi Arabia who
yeah,
is involved with the world of cinema. I mean, he
yeah,
knows all the economics and marketing that goes behind the movies and everything.
yeah.
Now, in his opinion, basically, like, in order for Captain America: Brave New World to break even, they have
Mm.
to have their earnings at $600 million.
Oh, I was way off because and I could be wrong about this, but as far as I know, you have to calculate the production value and then put on top of it roughly around another 100 million for advertisements, for premieres, for whatnot. So what I saw was the production value was 180. So let's round it up to 200,
Yeah,
and then another 100 for, like I said, advertising, for going to premieres and all that stuff. So that's about 300 million.
right.
So to break even, just to make the production value, it would have to make 300. It has. For it to be profitable, it would have to make 600 million.
Okay.
That's as far as I understood. I could be wrong about that, but
No,
I
no,
mean that.
because the
Mm,
way the way you were thinking, I was thinking exactly the same way, and I asked him the same question. In
yep,
fact, like I was thinking on the same lines as you were.
yep,
And basically, what he has explained is that there is a lot of window dressing that happens in the studio accounting.
yep.
Okay, so for example, right now, I'm sure you've come across the information that the director came out and he said that we only reshot the movie once. Whereas
Mm,
it has been widely reported that it was reshot 4 times.
oh my goodness.
So, does this $180 million include those 4 reshoots? For argument's sake, it's impossible to have that.
Gotcha.
And then, I mean, like, there's a lot of shady accounting that happens, and how people tend to basically, like, justify their success, if you will.
Right,
And
right.
as I've used the term window dressing, so but what's even more surprising is the fact that if I'm coming across chatter on platforms like X and Facebook and even Instagram,
Yep,
you see a lot of moviegoers, superhero aficionados like you and me.
yep,
Most of us are coming out in praise for this movie, but when we are going to, like, Rotten Tomatoes, they gave a very poor ranking, the critics, but the audience score was 80%. Now, this
yep,
person who is associated with cinemas here in Saudi Arabia, and he
yep.
knows a great deal about this sort of stuff. He said, Rotten Tomatoes, you just need to put it on the side, whether it's the audience
Mm,
score or the critic score. You
right.
have to look at Metacritic, you have to look at IMDb, and
Yep,
unfortunately, even there, Captain America: Brave New World is not
yep.
doing really well. And
Right.
for me, it's quite saddening and disappointing, because if you remember, this was like, I felt I went back to the time when I first came across Captain America comics. Those
Mm,
stories that were done by Steve Englehart, those stories for Incredible Hulk that were done by Bill Mantlo. And
yep,
then, there was this really amazing crossover short story that happened, a mini crossover, if you will, because this was a time when crossovers were not a Marvel policy.
right.
This is like, you're looking at the early days of Jim Shooter, early 80s and stuff.
Yep.
So for me, it was really good. I mean, it was
Mm,
action packed, and it had, like, you came across the inconsistency about the leader.
yep.
uh, for me, it was really fast paced in some areas, but I don't know, man. It's just a weird place we are in.
So I just managed to get my notes open from my phone.
Yeah.
A couple of also some things to note. Well, when we talk about inconsistencies, I felt like some scenes just did not fit. I feel like had they gone back to the editing, they could have done without a whole lot of stuff, and they could have added in a whole lot of more essential things. But some things I did write down were that after credit scene was terrible.
Yeah.
It was just Cap and the leader and saying something's coming. What is it? We didn't get to see anyone new. We
Yeah.
didn't get to hear any specifics about what's coming. I
Yeah.
mean, uh, so I will say, and I don't know if this is defending the movie or it more likely is. This is the last movie in
Mhm.
that was developed by Marvel Studios under the authority of um, Chapek before Bob Iger came back and took over.
This
So
was still under Bob Chapek's.
this was still under Bob Chapek. So this was the very last movie. So moving forward, so the reshoots were done. Kevin Feige came in. He was the one who ordered the reshoots. So that was a little bit of them trying to salvage the movie.
Right.
And you can tell they were more coming into 2025. They were more excited about Thunderbolts. There was more advertisements at Comic Cons and all that for Thunderbolts than this movie.
True.
For some strange reason, you could tell they were more excited for Thunderbolts than they were for this movie. What else? So let me ask you, what did you think about the casting of Harrison Ford as opposed to the actor who unfortunately passed away.
Well, uh, William Hurt, I really felt, the day he died, for me, he was the perfect Thunderbolt Ross after Sam Elliott. But of course,
Yep.
we couldn't have Sam Elliott and then William Hurt, so somebody had to come in. And I
Yep.
think having Harrison Ford as being an important part of MCU, I just fell in love with it because uh, Harrison brings a lot of energy to his roles. We've seen him as Indiana Jones, we've seen him as Han Solo,
Yep.
and it's not just these pop culture sci-fi movies that we are talking about. I mean, there are so many other movies like Clear and Present Danger, and
Air
I
Force
can
One.
just Air Force One, exactly, Air
Yeah.
Force One. Who could forget that? So Harrison Ford, I think, is the best Thunderbolt Ross that we can ever have. May the Almighty bless him with a long life and a healthy life so that he can continue to play this role. I
So
think,
about that.
yeah, and I know where you're getting at. So, and then at the same time, seeing Samuel Stearns making a comeback, because we need something good happening for the Hulk. And unfortunately, the Hulk has been trashed into the smithereens thanks to Taika Waititi with his unbearable work that he has
Yep.
done, starting with Ragnarok and then followed by Love and Thunder. Some people were opposed to seeing the Smart Hulk in the end game, which I did go along with. Why? Because there is a phase in the comics where we have a Smart Hulk, although he is more aggressive in nature. We had a very passive
Yep.
Smart Hulk, but we can let it go. I mean, that's the case.
You know
So
what?
yeah,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I
no,
want
no,
just want to add real quick. You know
yeah,
what? I would on my Hulk wish list. What I would like to see, and at the top of the list would probably be Planet Hulk, even though they've already done a version of Planet Hulk with Ragnarok. But
yeah,
if I had to, because they've done this in the comics before, where they've completely separated Bruce Banner and the Hulk,
yes, they did,
and
they did.
and that has been the most savage Hulk we've ever seen. So hopefully we get that. My and next thing I would love for the Hulk is to see the Maestro. Um, that is a villain that has not been tapped yet in live action. So
True,
hopefully we do get him at some point. Going back to what we were talking about Harrison. Harrison Ford is a national treasure.
no doubt.
He's he's an amazing actor. He's an amazing gentleman in person. I've never met him, but from what I hear. Here's the thing. Harrison is 82 years old,
True.
and for it's like this whenever you ask for someone to come in and play these comic book movies, you want them to stick around for the long run.
Yeah,
Um, he was supposed to make an announcement at the Oscars tomorrow, or is it? I'm sorry, tonight. Tonight the Oscars are happening,
yeah.
and
Okay.
he was diagnosed with I believe it's called shingles.
Shingles.
Uh,
Yes.
yeah, so he backed out. He's not going to be able to be there, and that worries me that he's not going to be able to maybe play Thunderbolt Ross anymore moving forward in the MCU. Hopefully not, but that's a concern, and
It is a
rightfully
big concern.
so.
It's a big
Rightfully
concern.
so. It's. I mean, he's getting up there in age. It's totally natural. It's fine. But it makes you wonder: are we going to be seeing him? Are they going to think about maybe casting someone else moving forward? Because potentially Red Hulk is someone we could see in the future. So
Here's the
also.
thing. Here's the
Mm,
thing. I mean, like, my knowledge about medical conditions is pretty limited. So,
yeah.
like, I
Oh,
mean,
me as well. Mm,
yeah. But does
mm,
someone having shingles?
yeah.
Uh, Before I continue, I just want to say something for the audience.
Yeah.
Please, you are more than welcome to join us on YouTube through chat. Share your comments and questions, and we'll be getting to them as well. So, does the medical condition, does this type of medical condition prevent a person to act in an environment where he or she has to be in front of the green screen? We don't know.
I'm wondering if they just make him permanently be Red Hulk. Even though he transformed back, spoilers, he transforms back towards the end of the movie. Um,
Now we can
could he?
share spoilers. That's not an issue.
Okay. Could he just do the voice? Could he just be in a booth and do the voice? Could that make it easier for him to move to continue to be Thunderbolt Ross slash Red Hulk? Hopefully it does. Hopefully, if it's not too much, then for him to just come into a booth a couple of hours a day. Hopefully that's not too much work for him, and he can continue. One other thing that hopefully is something for us to move forward with, because in the next couple of years we are going to be starting to get X-Men movies, was the
Yes.
introduction of adamantium.
Yes. The
Yeah,
Celestials. Finally, they
yeah,
addressed this question about what this celestial being was supposed to give us.
yeah. So we got adamantium, and of course, as many of us know, it's the material that they're going to be coating Wolverine's skeleton with, or at least the MCU's Wolverine, moving forward. So that gives us some hope of things to come. Yeah, so that's all the stuff I wrote down in terms of Cap.
Okay, so
Mm.
now, first thing is that let's just bring it to a conclusion when for Captain America: Brave New World. The movie is basically like, yeah. Please go ahead, Son of Sparda.
Oh, I got one quick question for you. So moving forward,
Yeah.
we know that. So I believe I heard that next month in April they're going to start production on Avengers Doomsday. Now the previous iteration of the Avengers, Cap, Chris Evans was the leader of the Avengers.
Yes.
Do you think Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson, could be the next leader? He's never led a team, as far as we know. He's been in the military. He's had training. Could he lead the Avengers? And it might be worth discussing who are the Avengers, because we only have Thor right now, and I guess possibly Spider Man. Doctor Strange has not. He said, "I'm not a member of the Avengers."
See, you can. I mean, like, make. After all, we finally had let's forget Anthony Mackie for a second. We finally
Yeah,
saw a few years ago, I think it was back in 2012 or 2013, I might be mistaken, that Sam Wilson earned the mantle of Captain America.
yeah,
Okay, so it's basically how you justify this move.
yeah,
Now, one thing is that both you and I agree that you've seen the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series. I've
yeah.
seen it. Anthony Mackie did not cut it as Captain America in that series.
Mm,
But in this movie, of course, he's not Steve Rogers,
yeah,
but he basically now is like is Captain America, and he is in a position to lead. But
yeah,
let's not forget, the Avengers are not a team that is led by an individual.
yeah,
Because, like in X Men, you either have Professor Xavier leading the team, or you have
yeah,
Cyclops, or you have Storm.
yeah.
So in the Avengers, it's always going to be a trinity. Now,
Yeah,
the bigger question is who's going to be the trinity this time? Is it
yeah,
going to be Sam Wilson? Is it going to be Shang-Chi? Is it going
yeah,
to be Spider-Man? Or is it going to be Sam Wilson, Thor, and Spider-Man? Or, I mean, the possibilities are endless. And we don't know because Hugh Jackman Wolverine is now part of the MCU.
yeah,
So I mean, just to sell tickets, I think they might be willing to have a roster that's basically a mix of the post Steve Rogers Avengers lineup mixed with the new Avengers lineup.
yeah,
So, and let's not forget Ron and Hawkeye.
yeah,
So too many things are at play here. A lot can be done. A lot can be uh, achieved. But the main thing is, I mean, like, are they going to be doing things the way things were being done post Endgame during COVID, which probably was the worst time for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That is
Absolutely.
bigger concern that I have. And recently, I'm glad that you mentioned Doomsday. Doomsday artwork was leaked. I don't know if it
Mm.
was a deliberate leak. Now news is coming in that it's gonna be delayed till 2027. So
Oh.
so it's like, unbelievable. But anyhow,
Mm.
is there anything you want to add on Captain America: Brave New World before we move on to the Lanterns?
No, it's just it was mostly a good movie. Like in the terms of was it good? Was it bad? Was it enjoyable? It was enjoyable. It wasn't top tier Marvel. Like if you look at the initial Captain America movies, one, two, three, one, two, and three. Um, I mean, I wonder how we can rank this. I'd say Winter Soldier probably for me goes in at the very top.
True.
And then maybe I'm sorry, Civil War. Civil War probably at the very top, and then Winter Soldier.
No,
Um,
no.
no, you put Winter Soldier first.
Winter Soldier first. Why? Because Civil War, they tarnished the story entirely. Because just like you saw
Mm,
the Secret Invasion storyline, I mean, these were mega crossover events that you're talking
yeah,
in comics, and they had so
yeah,
much depth, so much emotion, so much
yeah.
relevant to our times. And
But aside from if you want to separate from the comics as a movie,
yeah,
how would you rate it in terms of comparing it to the other movies?
comparing it to the other movies, here's the thing. First one,
Mm,
Winter Soldier, for me,
okay.
it's always going to be Winter Soldier as my number one
Yeah,
pick. But
yeah,
the second one after that, that's because of you know the nostalgia we grew up in.
yeah.
Captain America: The First Avenger,
Oh, really?
because
Mm,
it's like those are the stories.
yeah.
How did I get introduced to Captain America first?
How's that?
For the first time in my life, it
How's that?
was uh, uh, in 1980s Jeddah.
Yeah,
Saudi Channel 2 is showing us the Spider-Man animated series, which was produced in 1981.
yeah.
And there was this one episode where Spidey teams up
Oh,
with Captain America.
yeah,
So you have that World War II reference, you have
yeah,
that good guy Cap reference. And
yeah,
remember, this is the 1980s, okay? So being good was celebrated. It was
yeah,
not something considered dumb or something like that. You had
yeah.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Okay, we used to have
Please will
that
you
in
be
Saudi
my
Arabia.
neighbor?
Yeah, will you
Yeah,
will you
yeah,
be mine? So Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and so I mean, like, so anyone who would fit that profile of a good person, good
yeah,
individual, good
yeah.
human being. So Captain
And
America was like, he struck a chord with everyone over here. I mean,
yeah,
that particular episode, if I sit down with my friends who grew up in 1980s Jeddah, we all end up talking about that particular episode if they watch
yeah.
that animated series.
And you see that very clearly in the character of Steve Rogers in that scene in the first Avenger where Tommy Lee Jones's character throws a grenade, and
Yeah,
he's the only one who jumps on top of it to protect the other soldiers.
exactly.
And
Heart.
the I forget the name of the German scientist. He was like, "I chose you not for your physical strength or anything, but because you're a good man."
And he points to
Yeah,
his heart. That's the thing. I mean, it's from here that what, and that's what Captain America is. I mean, essentially. And unfortunately, a lot of people took Anthony Mackie's statement out of
yeah,
proportions when he said that Captain America isn't
yeah.
representing America, and then it became. But that's the beauty of Captain America, is that even though he is wearing the star and the American flag, he's draped in it in its entirety, but everyone can relate to this character. In fact, Superman is more an American
I
icon.
should we should also mention that Chris Evans had similar comments. He was asked a similar question. He said the exact same thing. But also let's not
Yeah,
forget the two movies, Civil War and Winter Soldier. He fought against America in those movies. Captain America. He went against
yeah.
his own government. I'm not saying it's something that everyone should strive to, but still. Uh, we're saying that the character doesn't necessarily have to be associated with America. He is associated with the
Exactly.
ideals that Americans or anyone else would strive to have.
That's the thing. I mean, like, Captain America is not a symbol of
Yes, yes,
nationalism, if you will. He's about truth
yes.
and justice. And I still remember that the comic book panel from Daredevil Born Again,
Yeah.
I think, which was written by Frank Miller. There's a very beautiful panel where Captain America is basically invited to the
Yeah.
Pentagon, I think, or I think he's invited to the
Yeah.
White House to talk about this crazy super soldier called
Oh,
Nuke. So, the president, or maybe the Pentagon top brass, they try to blackmail him into like being loyal to your country and all that. And he grabs the flag and he says, "I'm loyal to the dream."
oh, wow. Right,
So this is like the Captain, and that's why if Captain America, the first Avenger, remains my number two. And Civil War, a lot of people loved it. Uh, for me, if I disassociate it from comics, it's like a playground
right,
story. When we were kids, we are in the kindergarten or we were in primary. Okay, we want to be friends with someone, but that guy wants to be friends with
right,
somebody else. So that's that jealousy. And I really did not like that scene, that when Tony Stark says, "I thought I was your friend." Give me a break, man.
right,
Give me a break. I mean, you guys are
right,
superheroes. Okay, you're talking about truth and justice. That's the thing. I mean, like, anything that compromises truth, anything that compromises the quest for justice, you have to leave it
right,
back. But anyhow, they had to do what they had to do. And it's like, one of my relative comes calls me and he says, "Oh, I watched Secret Invasion and it's an amazing series." I said, "Yes, only if you haven't read the
right.
comic,
Sure.
because when you read the comic, then you will be utterly disappointed."
Absolutely. Um,
Anyhow,
so I feel like no matter
uh,
how you put the order, the original trilogy goes first, and then this comes last, right? Uh,
yeah.
I feel like, yeah, most people feel the same way.
No, no, of course there is no disagreement on that. And uh, you know it's a
Yeah,
challenge.
yeah,
It's a challenge. I mean, there are generations that grew up seeing Steve Rogers as
yeah.
Captain America. So let's see how it goes. Okay, next up is the
Yeah.
Lanterns. Saw Hal Jordan, we saw John Stewart. What's your take
Oh
on that,
man,
Son of
I've been
Sparda?
waiting for a new Green Lantern project since the last movie, since we saw Ryan Reynolds, and then the next time we saw a green, not the Green Lantern, a Green Lantern on screen was, I believe, in Zack Snyder's version of Justice League, his cut. We saw in the opening scene, we see a Green Lantern get killed in the opening scene.
Yes,
So that was the very
yes.
last time, years ago, the last time we saw a Green Lantern on screen. So I'm very excited about this one. People have been begging for a John Stewart version of Green Lantern forever and ever. So, and there were rumors that they were trying to get Ryan Reynolds to come back and do a new version of Hal Jordan. Um, it's fine. We're not getting that. He's busy with other stuff. He's happy where he is with Marvel, with his good buddy.
He's not happy. He's getting screwed up by Justin Baldoni.
Oh my! I mean, him and his wife, yes, and they're making obscene jokes about it, and stuff's happening, and we'll tackle it as it comes into light. I think the court date is next month, I think, but
I
we'll see
think
what
so.
happens with that. If you guys, I do have a recommendation though about Green Lantern. If you guys want to see a really solid Green Lantern movie, it's animated, but it's called First Flight, and it's an origin
Yes.
story for Hal Jordan. And also a little bit of tidbit: would you guys be interested in knowing this is not the first time Nathan Fillion has played Green Lantern? He's playing Guy Gardner in the next Superman movie. He has played Hal Jordan in numerous animated movies.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes. You're right
yeah.
about that. You're
Yeah.
right about it.
Yeah, at
You're
least
right.
3, 4 movies, animated movies. He's played the voice of Hal Jordan. So that's an interesting
Right.
little bit that he's played a Green Lantern in animated. He's coming to play a live action animated. But aside from that, and hopefully we see him in the series. Hopefully we see Guy Gardner join the Lanterns in their series, because it's not going to be about one or
He,
two. Hopefully we're going to see many Green Lanterns. We're going to go to the planet of Oa. We're going to see the Guardians, all that good stuff.
what about
So we're
Sinestro?
gonna hopefully we're gonna see Sinestro, and this is at a time I'm assuming where Hal Jordan has been the Green Lantern for a while now, and so maybe Sinestro is already shifted to being a Yellow Lantern. Maybe he's still there with them, and he's about to make the transition. We'll have to wait and see. But from the one shot they posted, they're supposedly on Earth and they're walking down some highway. So we'll
Yeah.
see if this is them, Hal Jordan training John Stewart. Is this them on a mission and they've been Green Lanterns for years? We'll have to wait and see. But there's one character I do want to see who has been a popular character in the Green Lantern series is Kilowog. I
Yeah.
hope we get to see him. He's always a wisecracking character, someone worth seeing. He's always pushing people around, calling them a poser. So I'd love to
Yeah.
see his character somewhere in there, hopefully.
You know the picture which James Gunn
Yeah.
shared. It reminded me of which comic book
What's
series?
that?
In the 1970s, Dennis O'Neil and Neil
Yeah.
Adams, they did the Green Lantern and Green Arrow.
Oh, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, so basically, like it was one title that had Green Lantern and
Yeah.
Green Arrow, and it was basically like a dialogue
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
Americas, in fact, because after the Nixon resignation, the country was pretty polarized, just like it is
Mm.
right now. So it was an attempt by Dennis O'Neil and the late Neil Adams, both of them have
Yeah.
passed away, uh, to basically bridge the divide. So Hal Jordan would be representing the right, the
Yeah.
American right, and Green Arrow would be representing the American left. And both
Mm.
of them are on a cross country
Oh,
trip across
nice.
the United States. So just like when these two guys are walking down the
Yeah.
highway, it immediately basically clicked that memory in
Mhm.
my mind. And for those of you who haven't read this particular arc, it's a
Mm.
masterpiece. Please do that. And if you guys want me to share the link with you, I'll be glad to do that. You can easily get it on Amazon. The lanterns had the picture that has been shared, a
Oh,
breath of
can I
fresh
tell you
air.
something about what you just said? Green Lantern, Green Arrow. I've just been
Yeah.
rewatching the animated series. Starting, I do that maybe once a year. I rewatch everything, the entire DC animated series, starting with Batman and then going into Superman, Justice League, and all that. So
Nice,
the
nice.
opening sequence of Justice League Unlimited starts with
Yeah.
Green Lantern coming to recruit Green Arrow. And maybe that's a nod to the comic you just mentioned.
John
John
Stewart
Stewart.
in
Yep.
Justice League
I know
Unlimited.
the one you mentioned was probably Hal Jordan, I think, right? Yep.
Yeah, that one in that comic book series, it was Hal
Yep.
Jordan and
Yep.
Oliver Queen. Yeah,
So,
that I mean, there are a lot of nods given to a lot of great comic book
yep.
stories. I mean, there was one about the New Guards, which they gave an gave they remembered Jack Kirby. There was this Alan Moore story that they had adapted, so they mentioned
Yep.
Alan Moore in that. So yeah, that I need to recheck the intro of Justice League
Yep.
Unlimited, because I still remember the Justice League
Yep.
intro because it was so
Yep.
powerful, the way they were walking towards the
Yep.
camera. Okay, next up is Daredevil Born Again. We are just a day away from getting episode 1 and
Oh,
episode
2 days,
2.
because it's on the 4th, I believe, right?
Yeah, for those of you who are new to my channel, I recently had the honor to interview Anne Nocenti, who a lot of her work has been adapted not only in Daredevil Netflix, but we're going to be seeing shades of it in the upcoming Born Again series. So please do check it out. It's on my channel. It's within my playlist for podcast episodes. So, what's your take now, Son of Sparda?
So I would encourage everyone, who's everyone, if you are the least bit of a fan of the original Netflix series, go back in these next 2 days and watch it, because I think it's arguably one of the most incredible series we've had in many years. I think until the Penguin came along, this was top tier comic book show. It had things that had never been done before in terms of the action sequences, in terms of the writing. Let me give you two examples of those two things I just mentioned. So,
Sure.
the writing, there were whole episodes dedicated to character studies of what happened to Matt in his childhood. How did the Kingpin come to be who he is in his childhood?
Yes.
How did he grow up? There was a whole episode about this painting that he bought and the significance of it. Why does he look at it every day? The cufflinks that he wears every day. Why does he rub them every day? What does it remind him of? Um,
True.
it's just mind-boggling how these little details play such a big role in these characters' lives. In terms of the action, if you tell anyone about the hallway scene in Daredevil, it
Yeah.
was a one shot. And for those of you who don't know what it means, one shot is where they don't call cut, where they don't change the camera angle. It's one continuous scene, and it is very hard to do in any movie.
No doubt.
So they
No
trained
doubt.
forever until they got this one shot perfectly, and it is glorious. So please go and watch it, if anything, for those things we just talked about. Um, so looking forward on this, people have seen the first initial episodes, and from what we've heard, people were concerned. Let me tell you, Kevin Feige put his hat on, and he made sure that this series was done justice. It was not to
Yes.
his liking, and he told them to scrap the entire whatever how many episodes they shot and redo it. And it was initially supposed to be 18 episodes long. And it's come
Right.
down to 9, but I feel like the 9 are gonna be more concise. It's gonna be more to everyone's liking right now, more to his liking, more to the audience, the fans, the writers. Everyone's enjoying it from what I hear. They have not only reached the level of the original show, they've elevated it from what I've heard from people who've gone to the premiere. Um, a couple of things that we've heard of. I'm going to tell you the things that are confirmed, and then a couple of things that I'm hoping will happen. So, in the
Yeah.
trailer, we're getting my boy here, John Bernthal, coming back as Frank Castle, the Punisher. He,
The best thing ever.
it's amazing. It's something I never thought would happen again, but they're bringing these guys back. Hopefully, we get more people. And then we got an announcement that he's going to get his own special movie on Disney Plus. Yep, that's
Yes.
happening sometime soon. Um,
I felt quite sad for White Tiger.
what was that?
I felt quite sad for
Oh
the
yes, the
White
actor
Tiger
passed away. Uh,
because White Tiger is heavily tied into
yep,
Shang-Chi side of
yep.
Marvel,
Um,
and he looks pretty like original straight out
Yep,
of the
absolutely.
comics.
There have been some versions where it's a female. We're getting the original White Tiger right now for this one, which is amazing. Sadly, the actor passed away. So maybe they'll recast him if he has a bigger role to play, and we'll see him again. But unfortunately, we won't get the same actor again. He is the very first Puerto Rican superhero in Marvel, a live action superhero in the Marvel universe, as far as I've been told. Um, so we're getting. So one thing to anticipate that might possibly happen: Kirsten Ritter, who played Jessica Jones, she has been teasing like crazy on her socials that she might be coming back.
Yeah.
Whether it's in this
Yeah.
series, they've also confirmed that season 2 is happening. By the way, they're going to start production very soon.
But I think Kristen Ritter has confirmed that she's in
Oh,
season
okay,
two.
I haven't heard. I heard that something's happening with her. I'm not sure what. Yeah.
Yeah. right now we still don't know what's going to happen to Mike
Yeah,
Coulter, who played
yeah,
Luke Cage, Finn Jones, who played
yeah.
Iron Fist. But I hope that they are also part of this project, because, in my humble opinion, I am a huge fan of this entire Defenders universe that was created by Marvel along with Netflix. So yeah,
And
that's one other thing.
and
Yeah.
we need to see them do justice to the character of Danny Rand. It was, I believe, amongst the majority of people, it was the least liked series. It got to a better place in season two, but it was too little, too late. It was not enough to save the series. All those shows were getting canceled at that point. So hopefully they can bring him back. Hopefully we can get a new series. I've told you before I would love to see a Heroes for Hire series where Luke Cage and
Oh, we need that.
yeah,
We need that. We
hopefully that
need
can
that.
happen.
The thing about Danny Rand is that it I think because guys like you and me, we are the Gen Xers and the early
Yeah,
millennials, who we were growing up in a different world when Kung Fu was at
mhm,
its peak. The 70s was dominated by
yeah,
Bruce Lee and David Carradine's Kung Fu
yeah,
TV series. And when for those of us who are growing up in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Channel 2 is entertaining us with David Carradine's Kung Fu
yeah,
series. So on one side we're getting Bruce Lee movies on a
yeah,
VHS, and on the other side we're getting David. So the moment I learned about
yeah,
Iron Fist, when my parents started to buy me
mhm,
comics, and I saw this cool guy with this
yeah,
yellow
yeah,
mask, and that really like amazing outfit, and he's
yeah,
kung fu, but that's all I need, because in those days we somehow didn't come across
yeah,
Shang-Chi. So uh you know when I looked at that series, it reminded me as if I'm watching David Carradine's
yeah,
series. But unfortunately, people's tastes change, people's expectations are different, and maybe it was too
yeah,
slow for
yeah.
their palate, if I would say. Okay, now another big announcement that James Gunn has
Oh,
made. I'll go to that. Please add your
oh,
point.
I'm
Sorry.
sorry. Before we go to DC, I just wanted to share one thing. I'm hoping it happens. Uh, so, and this picture reminded me of them. So I got these two people, gentlemen, right here. I got Charlie Cox. I'm sorry if it's a little too far away. And the I forget her name, the person who played Electra. So
Just a sec.
yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Just a
right.
sec, bro.
Should I put it, should I put
Uh,
it down or?
if you can just okay, guys, I'm sure you can see Son of Sparda standing besides the late Stan
Oh,
Lee.
yeah.
But what he's gonna show is, if you can just slide it a little bit towards
Let me
your
move these
right,
guys out of the
so
way.
people
There
can
we go.
see.
There we go. Is that better?
Yeah, just yeah, this is much better, but still people can see Stan Lee
Yeah.
more rather than
How's
uh
that?
Elodie
Yep.
Young and
Yep.
Charlie Cox. So you see over here, guys, Son of Sparda is standing with Charlie Cox and Elodie Young, and I have had the honor to see this picture up close. I had the honor to visit Son of Sparda's den few months
Yeah.
ago. So Elodie Young also is making a
Yes,
comeback, by the
that's
way.
what I was trying to get to. I hear she probably will be coming back. They brought back everyone, man. Even the actress who plays Vanessa. I heard at some point they shot some scenes without her,
Yeah,
and then they brought her back finally. So I'm glad they're bringing the entire gang back. Um, I think the very last thing. Let's speculate on what's going to happen because from that one scene that we see Kingpin talking to Matt, he tells him
yeah.
that he asks him, "Why did you hang up your mask?" And he says, "A line was crossed." What do you think that line was?
if you
Mm.
remember, in Daredevil season
Yep.
3, he had to take some measures. Don't want to spoil a
Mm.
lot, but he had to take certain measures into his own hands that went against his
Yep.
principles. And let's not forget that Daredevil season 3 had
Yep.
Bullseye pretending to be as Daredevil and creating a
Yep.
mess for the character, not just with the police, but with the media and
Yep.
so forth. And then at the same time, it came to a point where he had to do a deal with the Kingpin in order to save
Yep.
Karen Page. So now we're gonna see something that's gonna be like delved into further. But like Son of Sparda has said, uh, today is 2nd of March. Try to watch all the episodes if you haven't, because this season it's not gonna conclude. I mean, like one time. It's gonna continue with the next one. So we're gonna be having 2 seasons of Daredevil
Yep.
Born Again. So let's see what happens. Why am I seeing these balloons coming up?
Someone's sending you something.
Maybe.
So let me about that. Let me tell you what the schedule is going to be like. I don't have it in front of me, but I remember reading about this. The premiere date on the 4th, we're going to get 2 episodes, and then
Yes.
later on every week we're going to get one until I believe the last week. I think we're going to get two again, if I'm not mistaken. One of the other weeks we're going to get 2 episodes again.
I'm sure about the
Yeah.
first part, but I'm not sure about the final episodes. If they are, but I'm not gonna be surprised. Why? Because they did the same thing with your friendly neighborhood
Yeah.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
animated series. So yeah, okay. Now, last bit, but very important bit, is the fact that James Gunn has said that a Teen Titans movie or a Titans movie is definitely in
Yeah.
the plans. So we're finally gonna be seeing Dick Grayson.
Uh, Hopefully that means we see Dick Grayson, Starfire, Beast Boy, Cyborg, um, Raven. That was the core team, right? And hopefully we see all those guys. Was that
Cyborg, Cyborg,
Cyborg? Yeah, I mentioned Cyborg. Uh,
Cyborg, and Donna Troy.
and oh, and Danish, absolutely, absolutely. Maybe because last time in the live action series we had Hawk and Dove. Mm.
Yes, we did have Hawk and Dove. Alan Richard was
Yeah.
Hawk, but for me, it's quite surprising. Why am I saying that? Is because what will come
Mm.
first? Because Batman Brave and the
Mhm.
Bold, will that introduce us the new Batman along with a Robin?
Oh, and
If yes, which
mhm.
Robin?
Also, didn't he, James Gunn, didn't he a while ago say they were going to develop a Robin and Red Hood movie or series or something like that?
No, I can't
Okay,
recall that. I can't
might have been
recall
a
it.
rumor.
But
Mhm.
yeah, but the thing is, I mean, like now I'm a bit like
Mhm.
interested to see if we are going to see Brave and the Bold with, let's say, Tim
Yep,
Drake, and you know, it might be take or
it's
Damian
probably
Wayne
going to be
maybe.
Damian Wayne. Yeah.
Damian Wayne, yeah, true,
Mhm.
true. And basically, like we're just gonna see Dick Grayson as Robin in flashbacks.
Could be, or he could join in. He could come over and say hello to everyone because I feel like we're going to delve into the Bat family. Whether it's Dick Grayson as Nightwing, whether it's Barbara Gordon as Batgirl, whether we're going to see Batwoman. I feel like this might be the first time we'll see a live action ensemble of everyone that Bruce has trained over the years.
Yeah, but here's the
Mm.
thing. I mean, Son of Sparta, if you remember, back in the
Yep.
90s, uh, we saw Batman, the animated
Yes.
series, and we saw a grown up Dick Grayson as
Yes.
Nightwing. making his entry. So is are they going to be approaching the same formula here?
I assume so.
That's
I would assume so because at this point, if we do get Damian Wayne, then this means this has been years since he's met Talia al Ghul, since they've had a child together, since that child has grown
yeah.
up and become Robin, and since Damian has put on the cape, the mask and cape of becoming Robin. So I assuming this is years after he's become Batman, grown up, and so hopefully this means that Dick has been with them. He's grown up. He is probably Nightwing at this point.
Isn't it quite surprising that we never had Dick Grayson on the silver
I
screen?
mean, the last time we did was back in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin
Yeah, yeah.
forever ago. And then also, isn't it
Chris O'Donnell. Chris
Chris O'Donnell?
O'Donnell.
Yes.
Yes.
Isn't it a little crazy that that the DCU closed with who the DCU's Batman was when it closed down?
DCU's Batman.
DCEU, the Zack Snyder, the Snyderverse.
Ben Affleck was
It
a
was George
Batman.
Clooney.
Oh yes, yes, especially yes, 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 yes. The
Yep,
Flash.
in
Yes.
Flashpoint.
Yeah. It was,
Yeah,
yeah.
he showed up at the very
Okay.
last second.
Right.
He's
Right.
like, I'm Bruce Wayne. I'm Batman." So that was our Batman in the Snyderverse as it shut down, as it ended. So
That was a really painful
it was
reminder.
out of every Batman. I feel like Michael Keaton deserved to be the Bruce Wayne at the end. At,
Yeah.
they should have. Man, I don't know what happened there, but it was weird, man. I mean,
A lot happened. A lot happened that has left us crying for years and
what? Let
years
me
to
ask
come.
you, what do you think of the picture that James Gunn posted with Zack Snyder?
Okay, I'm gonna say a few things. Some of them are going to be positive, but some of them are going to be
Yay!
unsavory. Okay, so positive is that talent
Yeah,
recognizes talent, and for James Gunn to be recognizing Zack Snyder and for Zack Snyder recognizing James Gunn is a healthy healthy version of healthy
yeah,
optics. I might
yeah,
call them healthy optics. Now, the unsavory bit is that he had to do it. That's my hunch. I might
yeah,
be wrong. Because of the tremendous amount of toxicity,
yeah,
negativity being spread by the Snyderverse
yeah.
fans. Please, guys, wake up, smell the coffee. The ship has sailed. And basically, when you try to tarnish James Gunn's reputation, I'm not a big fan of James Gunn. I have said it repeatedly again and again, and you're a witness to that. But we need to understand and appreciate one thing is the fact that he knows how to incorporate the key elements from the comic book story onto the silver screen. I'm not a huge fan of Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I'm not a huge fan of Guardians of the Galaxy
Really?
2. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy
Right.
3. But one thing I have to admit about James Gunn is that you see all of these comics at the back
Yep.
over here. Okay, I've got more stacks and I don't have one comic of Guardians of the
Oh,
Galaxy, not even one.
right.
But he made Guardians the tier one, A tier team for Marvel, and his effect on the silver screen has influenced the publishing side of the business as well. So we have to give him credit where it's due. He has given us box office sales of more than $1 billion, not once but twice. Even his Suicide Squad movie got screwed because of COVID.
Well, I attribute that not just to COVID, but also I feel like it was coming off the other Suicide Squad movie, the David Ayer version. And I wish they
Yeah,
would have called that movie anything else, Task Force X, because it was when you compare that to the Will Smith movie, it was a much better movie. I mean,
Amen to
Yeah.
that.
I mean, man, we got to see Polka Dot Man become an amazing integral part of that movie. We got to see Shark King. We got to see Starro.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. Just I mean, like you give this assignment to any other
Yeah.
director. If that director does not understand the world
Yeah.
of comics, that's the beauty of
Yeah.
James Gunn. If you love Infinity War and if you love Endgame movie, one of the producers of the executive producers for these two movies happens to be
Yeah.
James Gunn. He basically helped organize the entire cosmos of the Marvel
Yeah.
universe. So I hope that people start seeing. Look, there is a lot of bad feeling about to this day about Richard Donner
Mhm.
and what W did with
Yeah.
Richard Donner. Otherwise, we would have had an amazing lineup of Superman movies starring the late
Mhm.
Christopher Reeve, but we
Yeah.
didn't have. WB screwed up with Tim Burton, and we all know how did
Yeah.
it go. And then they screwed up with
Yeah.
Zack Snyder. My point is that things, we are finally seeing some kind of optimism thanks to James Gunn and
Yeah.
Peter Safran. Stop crying about the past. Support James Gunn and Peter Safran. We need good movies, animations, TV series from the DC studios. We need competition against Marvel Studios. That's healthy. That's good for us. You know what happens in Saudi Arabia? If superhero movies are not going good, all the shops, including the big toy stores, they all stop bringing in merchandise, and they start focusing on lame stupid stuff. So we cannot buy action figures, we cannot get cosplay items right now. If there is hype, if there is commercial success, if good content is being produced, there is a possibility that we might be able to buy Dr. Doom's mask in Jeddah, in Riyadh, in Khobar, the one that has been launched by Marvel Legends. We might be able to. Oh, by the way, one other news, Son of Sparda, you and me forgot to talk about when we were talking about the toys. McFarlane Toys, DC took away the license. You heard
Yeah.
about that? They went back to
Yeah.
Mattel. So, I mean, everything gets affected. By the end of the day, and the reason I'm saying that is because there are a lot of fans, DC fans in Saudi Arabia, and sometimes I have to ask them this question. Are you guys fans of DC or are you guys fans of Zack Snyder? Because if you are fans of Zack Snyder, don't call yourself DC fans. Anyone who makes good movies for the DC franchise, that's what we need. And I'm glad. For me, Zack Snyder, I love the guy. I enjoyed his 300 movie. I didn't enjoy much Man of Steel, but his Justice League Snyder cut was much better. Though it needed a lot of improvement because Zack Snyder has this problem that he sometimes, over invests in some
Yeah.
scenes that can be finished in 5 minutes, but he extends them to
Yeah.
15 minutes. But it was an opportunity, it didn't
Yeah.
materialize. And I hope, and if James Gunn hires Zack Snyder to do movies for DC, even better.
I have a theory, and if he were to involve him, because who is more expert in that universe that ended than Zack Snyder? And we are dealing with multiverse now in every faucet, whether it's DC or Marvel. And I'm wondering because that universe has supposedly ended. Darkseid took it over, and the Superman is helping him, and the Earth is destroyed. So I'm wondering, do they do some kind of multiverse and have the heroes of the main timeline, the main universe, help out that universe, or vice versa? Something happens.
Son of Sparta, you need to
Mhm.
understand one thing. I
Mhm.
mean, with all that Marvel has done and with all that
Yeah.
Marvel is doing, you honestly think that what is coming, what has been decided and
Yeah.
announced for Marvel slate, particularly
Yeah.
Secret Wars, do you think James Gunn, an 80s kid, would leave the opportunity of not adapting Crisis on Infinite Earths?
He has to. He has to.
So, I guess that what the point that you are making about the DCEU that
Yeah.
ended, which was Zack Snyder, the
Yeah.
Snyderverse, if it needs to be shown or if it needs to have some kind of an influence on that
Yeah.
particular event, I see a strong possibility. And for me, I mean, it's again, it's a gut feeling. It's not reported anywhere, but I think these guys are, if all goes well, they will be going for a Crisis on Infinite
Yeah.
Earths
Yeah.
movie.
Absolutely.
But it has to be a three-part movie. It cannot be done in a
Yeah.
single get go.
So I'm just going to real quickly go through the slate of movies and TV shows that have been confirmed for DC because that's what we're talking about right now.
Please
So
do.
Superman's coming out this year,
Please do.
and then we got they're going to start going into production very soon of Supergirl or Woman of Tomorrow, I believe. Uh,
Yes,
yep,
Supergirl.
and it's going to have another fan favorite character, Lobo. This character has
Yes,
not been
yes,
played by Jason Momoa. This character has not been seen in live action form since that show Krypton. And I
yes.
believe that was the highlight of the show in season 2. It was only 2 seasons long. They wanted to go longer, but they didn't get the green light to do a third season, which is a shame because I feel like they were starting to hint that they were going to go into the Thanagarian War and all that.
Yeah.
What's also been confirmed is the Brave and the Bold, Swamp Thing. They're gonna at some point do a Swamp Thing movie. The Authority. They're gonna do that. And I don't know if this has been confirmed. Booster Gold, has that been confirmed?
It's still out in the
Okay.
open, but Clayface has been
Yes.
confirmed.
They're gonna do a rated R horror movie, Clayface. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be that already sounds amazing to me. They have confirmed that they're working on Constantine 2. That's DC. They are in some form going to do a Blue Beetle project, whether it's animated, whether it's a TV series. They want to continue with the same cast from the original movie that they made. So that's at some point.
I I just
Mm,
hope they have a better direction,
mm,
because frankly, Blue Beetle was a
yeah,
big flop. It was more about Jaime's
yeah,
family than it was
yeah,
about him, than it was about Ted
yeah.
Ward.
And it
So
was originally supposed to
yeah.
go to streaming. It was not intended for the big screen. And then someone said it looks good. Let's put it on the big screen, and that's how it got there. So James Gunn has announced a 6-year plan. We don't know all the details yet, but he says he has planned out the next 6 years of DC projects. They're gonna do. I think they announced something like like Marvel, where they're gonna do 2 movies, 2 TV series, and I think 3 animated movies.
Seven
Yep.
projects per
Yep.
year.
So that's ambitious, and I hope they carry through that. I hope every year we get that exact amount of movies. If not, I mean, more doesn't mean better necessarily, but as long as they give us good quality projects, then that's something to look forward to. Now, I'm going to give you a very short list of my wish list of DC projects. Uh,
Please
I
go
would like
ahead.
to see a World's Finest movie of Batman teaming up
Oh
with
yes,
Superman.
yes,
I don't.
yes. You have
I
my
don't
vote on
want
that.
this nonsense of them fighting and then teaming up towards the very end of the movie. I want to see a proper team up of the world's finest
Yes,
heroes. Uh,
just like Bruce Tim and Paul
yeah,
Dini gave
absolutely.
us.
They did a 3-part animated part of the. It was part of the Superman animated series where they did a 3-part
Yes.
episode, and it was glorious. Where Batman and Superman team up
Yeah.
against Lex Luthor, the Joker, and Harley Quinn, and it was amazing.
I still
Yep.
watch it. I
Yep, I
still
recently
watch it.
saw it, and they did, I believe, 2 animated movies called Batman and Superman. I think one was called Public Enemies, and the other one
Yes,
was
they did.
called Apocalypse. Batman, Superman, Apocalypse.
that was based on the based on the series that was done by
Yep.
Jeff Loeb and Ed Guinness, and one was Jeff Loeb and Michael
Yep,
Turner.
beautifully animated, and it had the voices of Kevin Conroy that passed away, Tim Daly, who was the voice of Superman in the series, and
It's
Summer
series, yeah.
Glau. She was the voice of Supergirl in that one. Really good movie from beginning to end. Highly recommended. Go watch it if you can.
No doubt,
I believe it
no
also
doubt.
had, I forget the name of the actress, the one who played Wonder Woman in the series. She's back in that movie as well.
Susan
Yes,
Eisenberg.
she was back in that movie playing Wonder Woman. So
Susan
that's my list.
Eisenberg.
What would you like to see? Oh, I'm sorry.
Uh,
I'll mention two more things. I would love to
yeah.
see, and fans have been begging for this for years, a Batman Beyond movie. Uh, I would love to see that. Terry McGinnis trained by an older Bruce Wayne Batman, preferably played by Michael. Even I feel like we brought Michael Keaton back once. I would love to see him come back again. Uh, so that's on my wish list. Also, I feel like we've had a version of this, but I feel like we need a proper representation of Flashpoint, where we get uh, a
Agreed.
Batman, not Bruce Wayne. We get Thomas Wayne playing Batman. I feel like
Okay.
that would be more to my liking. Something that is closer to the comic book adaptation.
To answer your
Mhm.
question, what's my wish list? Who or what do I
Yep.
like to see or
Yep.
want to see? I just want to see. I just want to see a proper, organized DC
Yep.
universe that gives us productions, whether it's the live action, whether it's
Yep.
animation, whether it's comic books, whether it's video
Yep.
games. They give us our favorite
Yep.
heroes.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know if you had the chance to watch my interview with Paul
Yep.
Jenkins, comic book writer Paul
Yep.
Jenkins. One of the character that always gets
Mm.
left out in the entire DC
Mm.
conversation is Deadman.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And imagine that Deadman, even within the world of
Mm.
comics, there are two writers whose work is critically
Yep.
acclaimed. First one, Neil
Yep.
Adams. I'm not saying that Jerry Conway or any other ones who came in they didn't do a good job, but Neil Adams, the way he established the character
Yep.
was amazing. But the Paul Jenkins run on Deadman is equally
Yep.
amazing as well. I am, pretty frustrated because things just center around Superman,
Mm.
Batman, at best Wonder Woman, and then they
Can I
dissolve
give you one
somehow.
character I'd love to see? So he
Please
was
do.
featured in the Snyder Cut in just one scene, but I'd love to see a movie
Yeah,
dedicated to Martian Manhunter.
of
No.
course, man. So, so it's like what's really frustrating for me. It's we have seen the
Yep.
Justice League in
Yep.
animation, okay, and I'm not saying that wasn't good but I mean, DC has so much
Yep.
to offer. Every character that DC has, most of the characters that DC has, their history goes back, if not 80 years, it goes back
Yep.
60 years,
Yep.
70 years. Okay. Dr. Fate is a golden
Mhm.
age character. Our Man is a
Yep.
golden age character. You have uh,
Yep.
Plastic Man, golden age character. And then a lot of the characters that were produced in the Bronze Age of comics, like Deadman. Deadman is a pure Bronze Age
Mhm.
character. We are not getting these heroes, and they offer a really good story, completely different
Yep.
from Marvel. That's the beauty of DC comics. When people say that if you have to choose between Marvel and DC, dude, you
Yep.
cannot do that. Marvel has a different content strategy, and DC has a different
Yep.
content strategy. And you need to look into these characters for who they are.
Absolutely.
So I just want things to improve. I want a strong
Yep.
DC so that it can compete with
Yep.
Marvel, and we get more. We have a second renaissance of superhero cinema, of superhero TV, of superhero animation.
Yep, absolutely, man. So, I mean, no matter
So
what way you look at it, I feel like, I mean, both these companies, yes, they're competing on some point, but I feel like everyone wins if we get good Marvel movies, if we get good DC movies. You know,
exactly,
one good wave will rock everyone's boats. It'll carry everyone.
one wave one wave will rock everyone's
Yep,
boats. The tides will reach the shores of Bahr
yep,
al Ahmar, because we got screwed up with the Comic Con thing
yep,
last year, and I don't know if it's going to happen this year
yep,
or not. We need, I mean, like, just look at it. I mean, we're living in an interconnected
yep,
world, Son of
yep,
Sparda, and we get affected. Even though in the past also we would get affected, there were means to do so, but now it's completely different thanks to the internet and streaming and
yep.
everything. So I hope, inshallah, things will
Inshallah,
better.
inshallah. No, we got so much to look forward to. You know, I feel like with every new direction, with every change, is something new to look forward to. So hopefully, we get so much in terms of this year, next year. We've got a full slate of things coming our way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I'm just really glad that quite a lot of people joined us, but I'm really like a bit puzzled that no comment, no question came in. But again, if you guys feel like sharing your comments and questions later, both me and Son of Sparda will be more than happy to get back to you. For those of you joining in for the first time, we do Superheroes of Arabia live every month, to basically showcase the local aficionados of superheroes, comics, collectibles, and everything, and even those who are the movers and shakers of the industry here in Saudi Arabia. So check out our previous episodes. I want to thank Son of Sparda for
My
joining
pleasure.
in, and he is a very valuable contributor, a very active member when it comes to the community. Uh, and I just am really grateful that he's going to be with us in the upcoming episodes as we take on all the important news, events, activities that are going to be taking place in the world of superheroes and those changes that are affecting the Saudi market. I leave you with the last words, Son of Sparda, and then we end the live stream.
We'll just read a line from the Daredevil poster: "The devil's work is never done."
Good one, good one, good one. Ramadan Mubarak to
Yes,
all of
Ramadan
you,
Mubarak, everyone.
each and every one of you. And may our fasts be accepted, our prayers be accepted. Please remember us in your prayers also, both me and Son of Sparda. And we will be seeing you guys next month with another episode of Superheroes of Arabia Live. Allah ma'akum. God bless you all.
Excelsior.